to another edition of the Newspaper Review on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja. My name is Lawrence Omoite. Welcome to this great show. As usual, we will be taking a look at some of the headlines across the papers, and during the second half of the show, we will look at some of the stories in detail. So, let's go. We start off from the front page of the Guardian newspaper, and it leads with the story, federal government to probe arms influx from Gulf of Guinea. And also we have federal government ASU, can public varsities afford another shutdown? Constitutional review, reps to Pali, NGF, NGE, and CSOs. We also have court declines request by Mohammed's group to hold NEC meeting, talking about the PDP. Unraveling struggles of domestic ship owners amid failed promises. Okay, still staying with the Guardian newspaper, federal government suspends local LPG exports and forces cost-reflective import. National Commission for Local Government Election, not the answer. Let's move on to election matters now, and let's wait for electoral offenses, punishment laws. And passengers groan as Abuja-Lagos flight ticket hit 108,000 naira, 369,000 naira. Wow. Local manufacturers remain resilient despite harsh operating environment. Senate tackles NDLEA over drug allegations against member. And AGF debunks 3 months grace on enforcement of LG autonomy. NSCDC assures Anambra residents of safety. And a little bit of some foreign stories here. Mozambique, police and protesters clash in Maputo after disputed election. And Cuba restores electricity to part of Havana, but the crisis is far from over. And back home here in Nigeria, police arrest suspects in stolen truck case, attempted AK-47 purchase. Lawmakers mourn 8 kidnapped, killed by one-chance criminals in Abuja. And Akwa Ibom police present 80.6 million naira to families of fallen heroes. Alright, Yobe police arrest woman for trafficking 350 rounds of ammunition. And Cross River State urges federal action on decade-long neglect of Calabar-Uyo Highway. And FIDA sensitizes traditional rulers on preventing violence against women and girls. PENCOM tasks stakeholders on proactive steps to realize $1 trillion. Alright, we move on to the Punch newspaper, and the paper leads with the PDP crisis story. PDP crisis, anti-Damagun plot thickens as NEC meets on Thursday. And drug allegations, Akpabio defends Ashiru, demands NDLEA proofs. And a little bit of sport. Under 17 Women World Cup, Flamingos beat Dominican Republic, face US in quarterfinal. Naira for crude, Dangote gets NNPCL's first supply. Nigeria still borrowing amid high debt costs. This is according to the IMF. And local government autonomy, federal government plans sanctions against defaulting states. And Onya Dam, growing boat demands overwhelm flooded Lagos Ogun communities. And flood displaces 200 families in Rivers community. Four nabbed for core members' disappearance in Rivers State. 2 internet fraudsters jailed 7 years in Kaduna. 19 die in Plateau checkpoint auto crash. Property developer to face attempted murder, 152 million naira fraud charges. Lagos school expels students after father attacked teacher and cleaner. PDP crisis deepens as chieftain drags party INEC to court over tomorrow's Choose between petrol at 1,000 naira per litre or CNG for 200 naira. Tinubu tells Nigerians. And from the Nigeria Tribune, we have the story: Reps bill seeking creation of Ibadan State. One other from Old Oyo passes second reading. And LG autonomy, no moratorium for governors on implementation of Supreme Court judgment. This is according to the federal government. Reps determined to grant full LG autonomy. This is according to the Speaker, Abbas. All right, we move on to the Nation newspaper, and it leads with the PDP story. Uncertainty envelopes PDP as battle for control rages. And we also have on the paper, PDP shift NEC meeting. Entities. And Senate considers bill to establish food reserve agency. Okay, why opposition parties in Nigeria are failing? We also have PDP pushes NEC meeting to November 28. Now we move on to the leadership newspaper, and we have the story: governors divided over suit challenging EFCC's legality. And the U.S. court clears Airpeace CEO. Plateau State selected to participate in African Development Bank's special agro-industrial program. And back to the PDP story: ex-Senate President Mark may emerge PDP chairman. Nigeria has capacity to produce ammunition for armed forces. And the Sun newspaper is court order to hold neck. And Labour talk tough on minimum wage. PDP governor. Well, our final port here is the Vanguard newspaper. And it leads with the petrol story by collapses threaten survival of businesses. This is according to the organized private sector. And Libya versus Nigeria, talking about sports. CAF president condemns Super Eagles in human treatment. Federal government bans export of LPG as price continues to soar. Nigeria has disappointed Africa, black race, according to Obasanjo. PDP crisis, my job's done, says Reconciliation Committee Chairman Oyinola. PDP crisis, we are united under Damagun's leadership, Governor Mohammed. And court sacks Kano Electoral Commission Chairman, members 4 days to LG polls. And federal governments ask Supreme Court to dismiss suit seeking to declare EFCC illegal. As a sad story, Air Force loses 5 officers in auto crash along Jos Akwanga Road. PDP governors and WC BOT members arrive for crucial meeting. Alleged murder of girl by boyfriend. Investigation is ongoing, according to the police. And there's also this sad story here too. Japa syndrome. Man dies during fortification ritual in Enugu grave. So sad. Community sends SOS to Rivers Police as PDP police, FCT police neutralize 9 kidnappers terrorizing Abuja, Niger, and Kaduna. Well, those are the headlines we could take across the papers today. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we look at some of the stories in detail. Please don't go away. It's still Citizen FM 93.7 FM here in Abuja.
Abuja. Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM.
Of our dream. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Your problem is my problem and my joy is your joy. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Make we join our hearts to build a nation of our dream. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Yeah. Your problem is my problem and my joy is your joy. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Shiki, shiki, shiki.
The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria is the brainchild of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of Nigerians for a better future through its policies, projects and programs that are aimed towards lifting the GDP and economic growth of the nation by improving average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon. The future starts today.
Did you miss out on the news during the week? Not to worry. Retrospect is here to make up for the missed information. Retrospect is a complete package of all the major Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Sunday at 6 Spect. We keep you.
Connecting lives and infrastructures. We are the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, a member nation of the International Civil Defense Organization with a world headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. NSCDC, the defender. That's who we are.
Need a lift? Feeling low, bored, or confused?
Wants your dream to brightly glow?
Here is what to do.
Women's Corner is waiting just for you.
Education, work, lifestyle, career, mentorship, and family too.
We will tackle the issues, provide solutions, and see you through. Finding your voice, reaching high, and making an impact. Women's Corner, where knowledge can fly.
Join us every Mondays and Wednesdays at 1 p.m. for inspiring stories and practical advice to reach all your glories.
It's Women's Corner on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja.
Woman don't suffer, lower everybody.
The issues. Everybody respected that because it was coming from the president.
Theory behind it, the way the people took the battle in their hands.
Some civil servant retire without a roof over his head.
The cause.
If we cannot trust you, then you cannot take the ticket of this country. Hussein cannot be divorced from those who cause the crime. Honestly.
The passion.
You must have national spread. So where is it?
Why are you so concerned about that?
He said money was.
I never.
No.
The platform is always the same.
Insight on Citizen FM 93.7.
The source is constant.
My name is Lawrence Umoite.
There is always an opportunity.
Tomorrow Insight returns with another interesting
Insight with Lawrence Umoite on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Be part of the experience.
Oh yeah, oh my people, make una come gather here. Which kind tori una wan hear on top radio? Wetin dey catch fire on top social media? Bring am on top Make We Talk Am for Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Monday go reach Thursday and the time na 5:10 wey be 10 minutes after 5. Make we talk am as e dey be.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still newspaper review on Citizen 93.7 here in Abuja. And welcome to the second half of the show, and this is the part where we're Guardian. Federal government to probe arms influx from Gulf of Guinea. And before we continue, the lines are open. You can join us on 0903 2229 You can also call us on 0818 222205 or 0818 2222. Also, call us on WhatsApp call. Any of those numbers, we will pick up your call. And let's go back to the story. Federal government to probe arms influx from Gulf of Guinea. And the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has said the federal government would probe the Gulf of Guinea as a major source of illegal arms into Nigeria. Ribadu said this as a 2-day seminar on climate change and the changing dynamics of armed proliferation and insecurity. The seminar was organized by the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, the Office of the National Security Advisor, in collaboration with the Global Network for Human Development. Ribadu was represented by the Director of External Affairs Office of the NSA, Ibrahim Babani, said the GOG had abundant natural resources and minerals deposit, boasting of an estimated 24 billion barrels of crude oil reserves, contributing roughly 5 million barrels daily to global crude chain. According to him, the region constitutes of 16 countries, including Nigeria, spread along its roughly 6,000 kilometers of unbroken coastline. The NSA said there was need for additional interrogation of the nexus between climate change, armed violence, and the proliferation of arms within the continent. The Director General, retired DIG Johnson Kokumo, said the impact of climate change had become a significant contributor to displacement and instability in various regions, particularly the Gulf of Guinea. Still staying with the Guardian newspaper, court declines request by Mohammed's group to hold NEC meeting. A federal high court sitting in Zamfara State has declined the request by faction backed by the chairman of the People's Democratic Party's Governors Forum, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, to hold the party's national executive meeting. The group approached the court for an ex parte order to hold the NEC meeting as the party crisis deepened. However, PDP governors met last night to further review the success or otherwise of reconciliatory measures taken to address the party's crisis so far. Leaderships of key organs of the party, including the National Working Committee and the Board of Trustees, were invited by the governors to provide briefings. Barely an hour into the meeting, chairman of the PDP Governors Forum issued a statement denying instituting any court case on the holding of NEC meeting, which is scheduled to hold on Thursday. The statement, signed by the Director General of the Forum, took exception to reports that the Bauchi governor filed a suit at the Federal High Court of Nigeria seeking an ex parte order that will compel the convening of PDP's NEC meeting. Court declines requests by Mohammed's group to hold NEC meeting. Assisting with the Guardian, we move on to the aviation sector now. Passengers grown as Lagos-Abuja flight ticket hit 369,000 naira. Passengers have continued to express concern over skyrocketing airfares as one-way tickets from Abuja to Lagos hit between 109 and 369,000 naira. Checks showed that Arik Air charged between 151,000 naira and 175,000 naira for flights of Friday, October the 25th, which was one of the peak periods, while Airpeace charged between 151 and 369,000. Business class on Arik was between 242,000 naira and 361. Airline operators have attributed the increase in airfare to volatile exchange rate, high cost of aviation fuel, increasing charges by aviation agencies, frequent delays by air traffic control, which leads to increased fuel consumption and cost, reduced competition among airlines, and high cost of maintaining and repairing aircraft. Passengers grown as Lagos-Abuja flight ticket hit 369,000 naira. All right, still staying with the Guardian newspaper. Senate tackles NDLEA over drug allegations against member. The Senate yesterday set up an ad hoc committee to investigate alleged corrupt practices in the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, as raised by Senator Oyelola Ashiru, Senator representing APC Kwara. The committee is also to probe the allegations of drug peddling against the lawmaker and ensure that the Anti-Narcotics Agency provides sufficient proof, failure of which will attract drastic action from the Senate. The resolution came barely 24 hours after the NDLEA alleged that Ashiru's house was used to warehouse illicit drugs. The agency also claimed that the legislator's recent attack against it was born out of vendetta rather than national interest, and that some of his aides were arrested in the raid on his residence and are currently being prosecuted, with one of them already sentenced to jail. Adopting a motion raised by Ashiru in the Halo Chamber, the Upper Legislative Chamber raised a 6-member committee led by Senator Enyenaya Abaribe and charged the NDLA leadership to urgently appear to explain the allegations. However, ahead of the investigation, the Senate condemned the NDLA for allegedly breaching Ashiru's rights and privileges. All right, we move on to the Punch newspaper now, and back to the PDP story. Yeah. Okay. Let's take this one. Okay. A local government, federal government plans sanction against defaulting state. That's on the local government autonomy, and the federal government says it will examine state laws on the conduct of local government polls, as well as scrutinize why some state governments have delayed the conduct of their LG elections. The Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, who disclosed this in Ekiti, said there was no going back on the federal government's plan to implement the Supreme Court's ruling on local government autonomy. Currently, no fewer than 164 local governments in 8 states have yet to conduct elections. There have also been reports President Bola Tinubu may implement the Supreme Court ruling by the end of October. This means the affected LGAs may have their federal allocations seized by the federal government in line with the court ruling. The LGAs that have yet to hold their polls are in Ondo, Osun, Katsina, Cross River, Nasarawa, Abia, Ogun, and Zamfara State. The Supreme Court ruling indicates that it is illegal and unconstitutional for governors to continue to receive or retain funds allocated to the local council under the state and local government joint accounts. right, still staying with the Punch newspaper, Naira for crude. Dangote gets NNPCL's first supply. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has received 4 cargoes of crude oil from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited under the Naira Crude for Sales. Alright, still staying with the Dangote story. It was gathered that the 4 cargoes of crude were delivered to the refinery within the past 3 weeks when the government kickstarted the sale of crude to local refineries in local currency. Informed sources about the local crude sales deal told reporters that the refinery was still waiting to receive more crude oil cargoes from NNPCL, the organizations managing the country's hydrocarbon resources. All right, we move on to the Nation newspaper. Dismissed 19 states case against EFCC, AGF tells Supreme Court. The Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, has faulted the suit filed by 19 states challenging the constitutionality of laws establishing the anti-corruption agencies. The Supreme Court reserved judgment in the suit yesterday. In a counter-affidavit to the suit filed by the governors, the AGF argued that the National Assembly validly enacted the laws establishing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The AGF urged the Supreme Court to dismiss the suit because the issues raised by the plaintiffs had already been resolved by the appellate court. Fagbemi also argued in a notice of preliminary objection that the Supreme Court lacked the jurisdiction to hear the case because the plaintiff's grievances is what only the Federal High Court could adjudicate on. He argued that the complaints of the plaintiffs are against the federal government of Nigeria and its anti-corruption agencies, but not against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to warrant the invocation of the Apex Court's jurisdiction. All right, we move on to Daily Trust now, and we have the story. New chapter begins, says Farouk Lawan after leaving Kuje prison. Farouk Lawan, a former member of the House of Representatives, has been released from the Kuje Custodial Center in Abuja after serving his jail term. In a statement he signed on Tuesday, Lawan expressed deep appreciation for his release. He said that yesterday marked a new chapter in his life as he's leaving the custodial center. Lawan, who served as chairman of the House of Representatives Ad hoc Committee on Fuel Subsidy Regime, was initially arraigned in 2013 after allegedly demanding a $3 million bribe from billionaire businessman Femi Otedola. Otedola had accused him of receiving $500,000 to influence the removal of his company's name from the list of firms implicated in the 2012 fuel subsidy scam. Though Lawal's appeal claimed the prosecution failed to prove he had demanded or accepted a bribe, he was convicted on 3 charges brought by the federal government. He received a 5-year sentence for the first 2 counts and 7 years for the last count, all to run concurrently. While the Federal Capital Territory High Court has sentenced him to 7 years, the Court of Appeal reduced the sentence to 5 years, which he has now completed. And we move on to the leadership newspaper announced governors divided over suit challenging EFCC's legality. The 36 state governors appear divided over the Supreme Court suit challenging the legality of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. While the suit was being heard at the court on Tuesday, 3 governors attended an EFCC event, the National Summit on Cybercrime organized with the support of the European Union. The governors were led by the Governors Forum Chairman and Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak, Katsina State Governor Diko Umar Rada, and their Zamfara counterpart Dauda Lawal. Reacting to the suit, Zamfara State stated that it was not involved in the case and only learnt about it at the event. He pledged his support to the EFCC and its works and promised to provide all necessary assistance, including office space, for the EFCC in Zamfara. When asked if he was not afraid of the EFCC probing him, the governor replied, "I am not afraid of the EFCC because I have nothing to hide. It is people who have something to hide who run away from the EFCC." The other governors who spoke at the event expressed total support for the EFCC and commended the work it does. All right, we move on to the Sun newspaper. And the headline here, Labour talks tough on minimum wage. The Nigerian Labour Congress has reaffirmed its resolve to take decisive action against states that refuse to implement the new minimum wage by October 31 deadline. The Assistant General Secretary of the NLC, Chris Onyeka, told the Daily Sun that the Congress would not tolerate any more delays or inefficiency in the process. He also said the consequential wage adjustment was a crucial process and the NLC expects states to handle it with diligence and integrity, ensuring that no worker was shortchanged in the process. He said, and there's a quote here, "We gave a deadline that everything should be concluded by the end of this month. By the end of this month, those that have not started implementing will be in trouble. They will have issues with us." All right, we move on to the Vanguard newspaper, and we start with this story from the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. He says Nigeria has disappointed Africa and the black race. A former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, said Nigeria has disappointed the black race and Africa in particular due to a lack of good leadership. He said the whole world looked at Nigeria as the hope of the black race due to its potential, but bad leadership, disunity, and regionalism have made the country lose its potential. The former president who said this when he played host to the 20-member delegation of League of Northern Democrats led by former governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau, blamed regionalism, which was practiced before the nation's independence in 1960, as the foundation of the country's prolonged lack of cohesion. Obasanjo said despite the uninspiring situation of things in the country, he remains an incurable optimist that things will turn around for good in the country as long as we can look back as a country and correct the mistakes of the past. He explained that the truth is that at independence, Nigeria emerged with 3 leaders, and so it is a situation of 3 countries in one ever since. All right, still staying with the Vanguard newspaper. Buy petrol at 1,000 naira per litre, CNG at 200 naira. Tinubu tells Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu has told Nigerian motorists to either buy petrol at 1,000 naira or the compressed natural gas at 200 naira. The president said this during a meeting with the company's executive on Tuesday at the State House. He also praised NIPCO's contribution to the nation's energy transition efforts, particularly its support for the presidential compressed natural gas initiative. During the meeting, President Tinubu acknowledged NIPCO's role as a critical player in enhancing the adoption of CNG as an alternative fuel. So, buy petrol at 1,000 naira per litre or CNG at 200 naira. Tinubu tells Nigerians. And with that package on the show today, we will return tomorrow with another edition. My name is Lawrence Mwete. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Gentle